Hello, sports fans, and welcome. Welcome to episode 238 of the Guru Talking Sports podcast. I am your host, the Guru of Sports. Well, this was one hell of a week in the world of sports. And a lot of things went on. You had the NFL that was going on. You had the WNBA that was basically going on during the football games, which I don't understand. So we had the passing of two legendary figures, which I'll get into a little bit later. We had the baseball playoffs to start. We had college football going on. I think I'll start here with baseball. Now, born in Baltimore, watching this Oriole team for a long time. I ain't going to say how long, but I've been an Oriole fan for a long time. And I have a relationship with the Blue Jays as well and the Dodgers, which, I didn't have a problem with the Dodgers because the Dodgers won last night. And, I have no problem with the Dodgers. I do have a problem with the Baltimore Orioles. It's up to 10 straight now. 10 straight games without a win. Playoff games without a win. And it's getting to be to the point where these guys have to make the plays. They have to make the plays. I heard a lot of stuff this week about, and Sunday and Monday I had a chance to sit down and think a little bit about how this playoff run was going to go for the Orioles. I didn't feel confident. I did not feel confident. And I know that, they had just came off the regular season on Sunday, which they, had a really good run where they, swept Minnesota. But that was Minnesota. They had to play Kansas City, and Kansas City was hot. Kansas City was, basically a hot team, coming in. And I just can't understand what happened to the Orioles. It's disappointing because, like I was, mentioned, I'm born in Baltimore, grew up watching this team, always, had the love for them, even though sometimes they would make me kind of sick or whatever. But this one just stung really bad. You can endure losses, but this one was just unreal. All right, let's go back to these two games. The first game, Corbin Burns pitched a hell of a game. Reagan's was pretty good too. And believe me, he was even better. Because he didn't give up any runs. The Orioles lost 1-0 in that game. Now facing elimination, they had to come back and try to win game 2 to stay alive. They lost that game 2-1. So they were eliminated. They only had one run one run in 2 games. You get what I'm saying here. I just can't understand it. 1 run in 2 games is pathetic. You can't win games when you don't score, obviously. Kansas City is strong. Kansas City is strong. They lost last night. I'm doing this right now at about like maybe 12:30 or so in the morning. I usually do this podcast like really early in the morning because I try to get it out to you guys as soon as I can. When I sleep on it, think about it or whatever, and then I get it out to you guys. But I can't get myself over this. It's just ridiculous. Adley Rutschman just disappeared after the All-Star break. Just plainly disappeared. Gunnar Henderson wasn't any better. And he was voted the most valuable Oriole on the team? I don't get that. Anthony Santander was the MVP, to my eyes, on that team. Over 40 home runs, over 100 RBIs. And now he's a free agent. I don't even know if they're going to bring him back. But they're bringing back Brandon Hyde. They're bringing him back. I don't have a problem with bringing him back. At first I was thinking, well, if they fire him, who are they going to get? Can't get Tony Francona because he already signed with the Cincinnati Reds, which was a good hire. Took a year off and then he came back. All right, so Corbin Burns, let me talk about him for a second. Corbin Burns might not be here next year. He's a free agent. They only had him as a 1-year rental, which I don't understand. They should have just locked him up when he could. And that makes no sense. Not at all. 2 games, 1 run. I still have a thought about that. 3 games to Texas last year, 2 games to Kansas City this year. That's 5. That's 5 right there. You got to remember, there's 5 from the other years, from 2014 on up until today. It's saddening. It's saddening for every Baltimore Oriole fan, and it's saddening just to sit here and think about how this team, I had some concerns about them right after the All-Star break. Because when they went into that June swoon, they basically did not hit, they did not field, they did not do anything that they were supposed to do. This team didn't look right. I don't know if it was what it was, but it was grumblings in the clubhouse. Were they not getting along with each other? Were they not focused? What was the problem? We still won't know. I usually keep my ear to the grindstone down in Baltimore to find out what's going on. I had to admit, I haven't talked to my family down in Baltimore because I know that they're upset. They're very, very upset. I've seen some of the comments on Facebook and everything, and I know that they're really upset. And I can't blame them, I had a couple people ask me what do you think the problem was, and I'm just telling you just basically what I told them. They didn't hit, they didn't field, they didn't pitch well. I mean, yeah, I gotta admit the injuries did pile up. The injuries piled up on the Orioles. You know, Kowser and uh, Westberg, Hurstad. I mean, there's a lot of Rodriguez was out. There was a lot of guys that missed time. Means was gone for the year. You know, the Mountain Batista, he's still, he didn't even play for the last year and a half or so. I did look at the way Mike Elias did at the trade deadline, and I just, I don't know. I was saying, hey, look, trade some of those prospects to get Garrett Skubal. Tarek Skubal. Tarek, that's his name. Tarek Skubal. I don't know. I have no questions. I have more questions now than I did during the season. I don't know what's wrong with this Oriole team, but this funk they gotta get out of this funk. This is not cool. It's sad. It's really sad because you think you have something and then you don't. It's really ridiculous. All right, so we talk a little NCAA football for a second. Yesterday was Upset Saturday in the NFL. And Michigan, Louisville, Missouri, Alabama, USC, and Tennessee all got upset. I'm not I am a Ohio State Buckeye guy. So I'm not going to I'm not going to tramp on Michigan too much. Even though they are rivals, they hate us, we hate them. It's only sports hate. That's the thing. I had a conversation with a couple people in one of my Twitter groups, and I explained to them I do have sports hate. Not hate for, I know the word hate is a strong word, but the thing about it is that it's sports hate. You just, as you're a fan of one fan base, you hate the other fan base. You hate them as your rivals or something. That's basically where I stand. Other than that, I don't hate anybody. Let's just say it's sports hate. I have to explain that because some people don't understand that, it's just sports hate. It's not personal hate, But the biggest one I got really, really a lot of kick out of is Alabama going down to Vandy. And believe me, I hate Alabama. I hate Alabama. I don't like Nick Saban. I don't like him because he's a liar. And basically he, sit up there and lied about, well, I'm not going to be the Alabama coach. I don't know why you keep asking me this. I can tell you time and time again, I'm not going to be the Alabama coach. What did he do? Turn around and become the Alabama coach. He's a liar. So when I saw that Vanderbilt beat Alabama, I was elated. I was happy. That made my Saturday. Other than a couple other things I have to tell you guys about a little bit later. But that made my Saturday. Yeah, Michigan losing, it was kind of, so what, you know. Louisville lost. Missouri lost. USC lost. Tennessee lost. I mean, this was upset Saturday. You know, it's kind of funny because, like, when I get a chance to, you know, sit home on the weekends, I usually don't do anything. I just try to catch up on the games and just try to, you know, catch up on some rest from the rough week, you know, driving and everything, and you know, concentrating and on the road and everything, and then dealing with these crazy, these insane drivers I have to deal with. This is my, you know, this is my weekend. I have to, you know, unwind doing something, and I really like doing this. This is one of my favorite things to do. But watching a lot of college football yesterday was one of the things on my list, and I made sure I tried to catch up with all of them. But there was like a couple of them I just couldn't keep up with because the Cal and Miami game started really late, and then there was a Arizona and I think it was Arizona and Texas Tech. I tried to watch that. That came on at like almost midnight. Oh, right around this time now. So try to catching up with these games. I you know, can't remember. I'm sitting up here just trying to watch Sports Center while I'm trying to do this as well. Anyway, I I got the news on Tuesday that we had lost two very, very important figures in the sports world. Dikembe Mutombo was always a polarizing figure to me. You know, I followed him when he was at Georgetown, and he was on that team with Alonzo Mourning, and you know, one of the greatest ambassadors, philanthropists of all time. He basically, I listened to an interview he had with Graham I can't remember his name, Graham somebody, Brasinger or something like that, Brasing. And I actually listened to him talking about how he had to rescue the babies because they were like women that were being held hostage, and that was just one of the things that you can say about Dikembe because he was an ambassador. I mean, he was a philanthropist and he was a humanitarian. He was only 58 years old, and I have, you know, rest in peace, Dikembe. The other figure that we lost was Pete Rose. And Pete Rose was very polarizing, very, very, I'll say, brash, but very confident. One thing people got to remember is that, yeah, I know that certain guys, I mean, like, you know, certain guys have outstanding and superhuman or athletic abilities. You know, but what made Pete Rose different was that he never, ever took anything for granted out on the field. He played the game the way the game should have been played. You know, when I was growing up, there was a couple of guys that kind of formed, I tried to emulate and try to form my baseball skills. And, I wanted to field, playing out in the field like Brooks Robinson, because I thought he was the most natural fielding infielder I've ever seen. Pete Rose was the spark plug, more or less. He was the spark plug. He was the catalyst that drove the Big Red Machine during the 70s. Pete Rose was complicated. Pete Rose was a fierce competitor. He raised the level of competition because he only thought of one thing and one thing only, and that's winning. I have never seen an athlete before or after now like Pete Rose. I was very fortunate years ago to meet Pete Rose, me and my son Dante. And, it was funny because, I think it was Tuesday when I heard the news. I texted my son Dante and I said, "Hey, were you with me when we met Pete Rose?" I had forgot, because I did get a bat and a ball signed by him. And, I didn't mind paying for it. Because, when I introduced my son to Pete, I said, "This is one of the greatest living baseball players of all time." I mean, we're looking at, baseball history right here. No one has done the things that this man has done. And I tell you, I was shocked because he was really arrogant, a little arrogant, but he was friendly. He wanted to talk to you. He wanted to tell you stories about how he played the game, how he won games, how he basically had that competitiveness, tenacity, the will to win was never in doubt with Pete Rose. This man could do, I mean, you could be down 10-0 in the bottom of the ninth inning, and I'm sure there was occasions where he would go out there and say to his guys, "Look, let's get one run now. Let's play it by ear. Let's just play it like it's 1-0, and let's just hustle and get all these, not try to get all these runs back at one time, but let's get them back, even though it's bottom of the ninth, and they were basically 3 outs away from losing the game." This is how he was. And when I was growing up, that was basically the way I saw everything. I saw it the way in baseball, I saw it in football, I saw it in basketball, I saw everything the way of let's get it back, not at all once. Let's just get it back one step at a time. Compete to the end. You know, he had that never give up spirit. And that's one of the things I just, always admired about Pete. You never see him walking down to first base. He run down to first base. And it was funny because like when I, played baseball and everything, I used to try to do the same things. It was like, wait a minute. What, you don't walk down, why the hell are you running down to first base? Because that was the way he played the game. He saw the game that way. Years ago, I think, let's say back in the beginning of the 20th century or so, no one played the game like Ty Cobb. Cobb was one of those guys that felt like everything that was going on the ball field was like a war. It was war between our team and their team. You had to do everything you could to win that game. Pete saw it the same way. So that he basically said, hey, look, you know what? I'm going to win this game, and I'm going to do it the way I only know how. To play hard, to get out there, hustle, and fight until we have won the game. There's no one else like this. I'll never, ever have seen anybody with that much intensity. That much will. I mean, there's anything to say about how Pete Rose played the game. There's no question and doubt that this man was one of the guys that was. He changed the way we play. He changed the way athletes were. I got a little clip I want to play for you, and then I'm going to, finish talking about Pete Rose. Here's Pete Rose with Graham Bensinger. Bensinger. That's his name. I tried to say it before, but I forgot. Whatever. All right, so here's a little clip with Pete Rose. I'm going to play it right now for you. Give me 1 second. I'll play it for you.
How did you feel about losing?
Oh, losing sucks. It's of all the records I have, the proudest record is 1,972 winning games. That's more winning games than anybody in the history of sports. You play the game to win. And, you get in trouble sometimes when you tell kids this, but not to the standpoint that you're a sore loser. But, I've been in situations, Graham, where we just won a World Series, and the guy we beat is in our clubhouse congratulating us. I couldn't do that because I'm going to sit and analyze why we lost that game, where if the situation comes up the next time, we will win the game and we won't lose the game. If you take losing in stride, you're never going to be a good professional athlete. You might be a good money earner because you're a good player, but I don't want you on my team. I want players who care about winning. I don't care who's watching you and I talk right now. If they got kids that are Little League players, okay, they feel better. I'm talking about mom and dad. They feel better if their kid got a base hit to win the game in a Little League game on the way home. The food tastes better. Impulse better as opposed to striking out going 0 for 4. When I was a kid, if we lost a game, my dad wouldn't even stop to eat. You had to earn that food, okay? So if we went into a prolonged slump, it was almost like going to Jenny Craig.
How did you feel about?
Now, the part that he cut out on was saying that, the phone call to grandma was a little bit better. But you hear what he said? He said it's that basically if he would have lost, or went into a slump or whatever, he said basically he was just like going to Jenny Craig. That's how he was. And like I said, I got a chance to meet him, and when it's not a common thing that I feel when I meet certain athletes. I met different athletes. There's only a handful of athletes that I met that made me feel like, wow, I'm standing among greatness. Brooks Robinson, Frank Robinson, Johnny Unitas, Jim Parker, Pete Rose. Oh, and don't forget my man Dave May Jr. I always feel like Dave May. Every time I talk to him, he's my man. I gotta give it up for my man Dave May Jr. But I feel like it's just an honor, and a pleasure to see the guys that you see on television in real life, sitting right next to you, or you're standing right in the presence of them. It makes you feel like, wow, that's really, really special. I asked him because one of my favorite baseball games of all time was the 1975 World Series, Game 6, where Carlton Fisk hit the home run to win the game to even the series 3-3 against the Cincinnati Reds, the Big Red Machine. Pete Rose is on that team. I asked Pete, I said, hey, what was going through your mind when you seen Carlton Fisk trying to wave that ball fair? He said, I thought it was a foul ball. I was telling him, I was like, wait, I'm glad he's waving it. I hope he's waving it foul. He did say a couple other curse words that I'm not going to repeat that, he had mentioned. And like I said, the guy was brash. The guy was confident, arrogant. It didn't bother me. Like I said, it was just an honor to be in his presence because he was the man. Now, let me run down some of these things. 44 game hit streak was actually the second longest. And if I can remember back, I think Gene Garber of the Braves got the final out to end the streak. 42-56 always be remembered as the hits. He broke Ty Cobb's record with hit number 4192. 3,562 games played, 14,053 at bats, 10,328 outs. He made over 10,000 outs. Plate appearances, 15,890. And singles, 3,215. All of those are major league records, which I don't think will never be broken. Pete Rose was an icon. Pete Rose was a very complicated and difficult person. We all know about his problems. I'm not going to talk about those because it's like when someone has passed we want to remember the good things. We all know what, the transgressions and all the stuff that happened. But we have to remember who the man was and how he was. That's what I wanted to get through. And finally, I want to talk about spending some time with some old friends. Not old friends, but, old friends that I haven't seen in over 50 years. And, it was just, to me, it was a pleasure and an honor to, I was invited to a food bank that, just to invite it, just to go. And, I just wanted to go see how things were, and, my friend that I was, that invited me was a childhood friend from my days when I lived in, growing up in Southbridge, Wilmington. Kim Smith sent me the link, and I told her, I said, yeah, I'll be there. I just hope that I could be able to see your brothers and your brother and sister. Tracy Taylor was a brother, and me and Tracy were great friends back then, and we played baseball together, and we all, he was a good dude, really good dude, still is a great dude. I'm glad that he still looks the same, but he's, it's funny because like I gained weight, but he didn't gain any weight. He was still skinny like he was when we was kids. But I told him, I said that I was just, it's just an honor and a pleasure just to be able just to, to touch base with great people that you haven't seen in a long, long time. And I didn't get a chance to see their sister Sonora, but I told them that I would be grateful just to try to catch up with all of them, and it was an honor, because really what I do is I work hard, I come home, I don't do anything else. I have the wife here, I have the dogs here, I have the house here. This is all I need, Basically, that's all I ask for, and that's all I want to do. It was good to catch up with them, but like I said, 50 years is a long time, and I'm just glad that they're doing good, but I want to make sure that I definitely keep in touch with them. And if you're listening right now, Kim, thank you. I thank you. And, I had to leave a little bit early because, I was there and, they asked me to help out someone and I helped out someone. And, I had to leave. But, Tracy, we'll talk soon and, we'll catch up on the baseball and all the good times of being, kids again. And one of the things that I love very much is remembering my childhood friends and just being able to get to know them. Because when they moved out of Southbridge before I left, I think they moved out in around about 75 or so, and I ended up leaving Southbridge and going into the Navy in 1981. So it's good to see my friends again, and I really enjoyed it. All right, before I go, I know that I didn't do the picks yet. Now I'm gonna give you the Jive 5. Now my record for the week for this season is 10-10. I'm 10 wins up, 10 wins down. I know. The guru's always right, so, I'm actually undefeated. So, out of 20 games, the guru's undefeated. All right, so let me go down these games right quick. I'm going to get these 5 games in, and then I'm going to get out of here. I know it's past 39 minutes, which I always try to hit the stride for because 39 is my favorite number, and that's the one number that I use all the time. It's a beautiful number if you look at it, you know. All right, let me get to the Jive 5. Cleveland and Washington. Total, Washington is 3-point favorite, and Cleveland, and I don't know what's up with them. The total is 43.5. I'm gonna take Washington, no doubt, because my fantasy football league is on a bye this week. I don't know why, but trying to work and just do the schedule and everything, it's hard. But I think if we do expand to 12 teams, then it might be a little bit easier. But anyway, we're on a bye this week, and so are the Detroit Lions, the Chargers, the Eagles, and Tennessee are on byes this week. This is the first week that starts the bye week, and we're only like maybe 8 or 9 hours away from the first game that starts at 9 o'clock, and I have to get some sleep so I can get up and watch that game because I'm gonna probably be wearing a Jets jersey. I'm wearing it's alumni week in Jacksonville, but I know that they're probably gonna lose. Stay tuned to watch me on Facebook. Check out my Facebook pictures because I am gonna have the bag of shame on for Jacksonville and the Orioles as well. So you guys don't forget to follow me on Facebook at Guru Briscoe. That's me, Guru Briscoe. And okay, let's go to these Jive 5 picks for this week. All right, so the second pick is New York Giants and Seattle. Seattle lost that game, knocked them out of the unbeatens on Monday night. It's a short week, I know, but still, they're at home. They should be able to get it done. They're a 7-point favorite, and the over-under is the total is 42.5. I'm going to take Seattle. They're at home. The Giants, I still don't understand what their best player is out, so that's not even going to be a point. Okay, so we go to the next game. We're going to have Green Bay at the Rams. Rams are hurting a little bit. Green Bay did figure it out. Jordan Love did come back. So I'm definitely going to go with Green Bay. They're a 3-point favorite. I'm going to go with Green Bay. New Orleans and Kansas City. This is on Monday night. How can you not go with Kansas City? They're a 6-point favorite, and the over-under is 43.5. And that over-under for the Rams and Green Bay is 48.5. I don't know. That might not hit. But anyway, I'm going with Kansas City. They're undefeated. New Orleans lost that shocker. They should be able to bounce back, but Kansas City gets all the breaks anyway. So I knew at least I have one right, with Kansas City. All right, the last game is the Raiders in Denver. The Raiders are just after listening to Devontae Adams and him and the Jets are getting close. They're getting real close and chummy. So, the Raiders ain't going to win this game. And they're in Denver, the high altitude. Denver's a 3-point favorite. The total is 35.5. I'm going to go with Denver. I hate to pick Denver over my Raiders, but I got to be realistic. I don't think the Raiders can win that game. So I got Denver, Kansas City, Green Bay, Washington, and Seattle. Those are my Jive 5 picks for the week. And like I said, I'm going to get out of here. But thank you guys all for listening. We appreciate you guys. We'll be back next week with episode 239 of the Guru Talking Sports Podcast. I'm the Guru. Later.